Jay Massey is a full-time real estate investor. He's an entrepreneur.
He also teaches people how to find deals, raise capital for real estate investments.
Meeting Jay Massey in person, you'd think he's just a regular guy. He's got jeans and a t-shirt on and a pair of sneakers. But he's built up a multi-million-dollar empire.
I hope you do have an empty notebook because it's going home filled.
Jay gives back so much value that I've never seen.
Now, at this moment, when I'm looking at the kitchen, things are going through my head.
You want to be friends with him, and he treats you like you're the only person in the room, even though it's for the benefit of everybody.
This is how, when you ask yourself, how does Jay do it? This is how.
He tells people that they have to take action, and they have to take action now. I took the action, and the results have paid off.
What happens when the marketplace understands who we are and how we go out there? All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good Sunday morning in this particular case. Well, actually, it does depend on where you're watching from, I guess. So for those of you who are up really, really late, awesome. Congrats. Those of you watching the replay, glad that you are here as well. And those of you who are here live, do me a favor, go ahead and type in the chat. Let me know that you're here. If this is your first time here, do me a favor. Also, put the word first in the chat so that I can see it. Speaking of the chat, just to remind everyone, we are in the process of moving to a new Facebook page. For those of you who are on the Facebook world, so you want to begin to make your way over to facebook.com/Cashflow Diary Live. Click like and make sure you get the notifications. And for those of you on YouTube, you guys are going to be fine. So we're going to start to putting ourselves in a position to where we are not streaming to 7 places. We're going to take it down to 2. So if you are enjoying the information that we have been producing for you and intend to continue to produce for you for the month of April, you're going to want to make sure to get over to facebook.com/Cashflow Diary Live. That way you can keep joining us live, or get over to YouTube at youtube.com/Cashflow Diary. All right. So we have kind of 2 things to cover today, is kind of what I wanted to do, because change is constant, right? I think I said that in the title, because change is indeed constant. However, mine perception of change has a lot to do with how well we adjust to it, right? And as you guys know, you've been around long enough, you know, change can sometimes be unsettling, and likely very, very much is. In fact, I'm going to say something that you might not agree with originally when I say it, but then I'm going to play a video. Okay, I'm going to play a video, and then I'm going to say it again, and it'll probably make a lot more sense. What I'm going to say is very simple as this. Everything that we are going through at this particular moment in time is not necessarily unprecedented. What I mean by that is it's happened before. There is a difference, however. It is certainly more sudden, more shocking. It is more all-encompassing in the sense that it is happening to more people simultaneously than I think it ever has happened. And we are definitely way more connected than ever as well. But it's not unprecedented, meaning change has happened before, right? And change has been forced on humans before. So before I go too much further down there, what I want to do is I'm going to play a video, then we're going to talk about change, then we're going to talk about how all of us can begin to build your roadmap, our roadmap to the next step, the next evolution, the next version. We'll call it U 2.0, right? So what those steps are that we can begin today in order to build our own personal roadmap that is tailored towards who it is that you desire to be, what you desire to do, and most importantly, as well, or just as importantly, I should say, what you desire to have inside of, your life, your world, and experience as well. All right. So what I wanted to do is I want to play a quick video. Many of you, in fact, some of you, depending on how often you go on YouTube or look at things, you may actually have seen this video already. Oh, excuse me. You may have actually seen this video already, but bear with me because I still want to play it especially for those who haven't seen it. Because I think the message inside it is something that we all need to remember, need to hear, and most importantly, can do and should be applying our mental faculties to. And we're going to do that together today as well. So here we go. I go here and here.
I just did a podcast interview with some folks in Australia, and they were pushing me very hard to try and explain how the infinite mindset helps in times like these. And I had a thought on that call that I wanted to share with everybody, which is these are not unprecedented times. There are many cases, lists of cases, where change or something unexpected has put many companies out of business and made other companies come out stronger and reinvent themselves. The invention of the internet put many, many companies out of business. The ones who could not reinvent their companies for the internet age, but rather doubled down on the old way they did business. Every video store is out of business because of streaming, and they couldn't reinvent themselves. When Starbucks moved into neighborhoods, many, many companies went out of business. Many coffee shops went out of business, not because of Starbucks, but because they refused to change the way they did business. They still had an old ripped up couch when you had a better product. Uber is putting taxi companies out of business, not because of Uber, it's because the taxis refuse to change. This is not unprecedented. The fact that something new and this more sudden, absolutely. More shocking, absolutely. Without a doubt. But this is not unprecedented in the business world. And so for us to say, not how do we do what we're doing, but rather, how will we do what we're doing in a different world? And the world is different. And the thing that I said on this interview was, it's the companies that have been investing in will and having an infinite mindset for a long time that will come out of this stronger, because they're prepared. Many of them were saving money as opposed to giving out huge fat bonuses to everybody and spending all the money. And the will of the people is high to figure out a way through it. The ones that are struggling the most are the ones that spent all their money, saved nothing, appeased Wall Street, and the will of the people is low, that people are in survival mode rather than reinvention mode. It's the companies that with an infinite mindset that are in reinvention mode. It's the companies with a finite mindset that are in survival mode, regardless of how much money they have. It's the mindset. How are we going to get through this versus how are we going to change to get through this? So I feel so optimistic because we're thinking about the future. We're in a dark tunnel, but there's a light over there. I don't know how far away that light is, but I can see it. But we're in darkness now, but when we come out of there, we will have a better train. A different train. We will be a completely different business. Some of us will have different jobs by the time we get out of this. And that's our opportunity. The opportunity is, what will we be? Not how do we preserve what we had. That's an infinite mindset. And I'm so proud of this team because my attitude is this, not theoretically, but because I'm watching a team go through it right now. I'm watching people reinvent themselves. I'm watching people think about their jobs differently. I'm watching people think, how can I contribute in a new way? I'm watching people say, what could we be? How will we bring our message to people in a different way, in new ways? That will last forever, by the way, not just for now. So proud of you guys, love you guys. Because we are a living example of the stuff that I'm talking about out loud. I get to say, we are doing this. We're not allowing Uber to put us out of business. We're not allowing Starbucks to put us out of business. We're not allowing the internet to put us out of business. We'll reinvent ourselves. This is not unprecedented. This has happened many, many, many times in business. This one's just a little more sudden.
And by different jobs, you don't mean different jobs out of this company, but reinvent yourself within this company.
That is the opportunity. So I know a company, it's a fine dining restaurant in New York City. He's figured out a way to become a delivery company. All of his people have kept their jobs because they have different jobs now. But if you think you're going to do the same job and you're waiting, like if you're a public speaker who was waiting for this to get through so you can go stand on a stage, I got some bad news. That ship has sailed. We have to be a normal company now where we have to market ourselves and develop product. This is a huge wake-up call for us. We had the luxury of being lazy. And I don't mean that in a bad way. There was no reason to reinvent when we're drinking from a fire hose. But now the opportunity is magical. I'm thinking, how do I put myself out there without a stage? This is entirely new for me as well. This is entirely new for me. But I'm not worried about what I do. I'm worried about why I do it. And I will find a job that helps me do that. I'll make a job that helps me do that. And I expect the same of everyone. And here's the best thing, you don't have to do it alone. We've got each other's backs, we'll help each other. Some of it'll be easy, some of it'll be unbelievably difficult. This is a very, very magical team. We're streamlined. Good? All right, I gotta go to the doctor.
Thank you, Simon.
All right, I love you guys.
Wash your hands.
I'm more worried about the doctor. Bye.
All right. Let me see. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, there we go. All right. So, yeah, there we go. Just, I hope you hear the same thing that I heard, right? That video is from a gentleman by the name of Simon Sinek. If you wanted to look that up, it's Simon. Last name is Sinek. There was a book that he wrote, oh man, maybe 10 years ago? I don't know. It was a while ago that has made a dramatic impact, I know, on me, the business and everything that I have done specifically in real estate and otherwise. It's called Start With Why. I mean, it's almost like just by saying the title, it's almost like you don't even need to read the rest of the book, right? And there's a second book he also wrote that has a very similar effect, and it's called Leaders Eat Last. So again, it almost feels like you don't need to read the book in order to understand what he's saying in both of those cases, right? But what it comes down to is when you start with why you do something, why your company exists, who your company serves, etc., can supersede any sort of particular marketplace situation, circumstance, technological innovation that comes across. And I think that's where a lot of us find ourselves today, is in a position where we have an opportunity. The opportunity is to reinvent. It is to innovate. It is to know that, yes, you still have a desire, a need for an income, but how you do what you do is what is being challenged to look at, right? And you're like, well, Jay, I don't have a company. Cool. Well, let's just call it You Incorporated, right? Or maybe you do have a company, but you don't have, I saw 16 people. So he's got himself and 16 people on his team. We don't have quite that many. But still, the challenge is the same, is how can you still do what you do, why you do it, but do it in a different way? You Incorporated. How you do what you do is likely to change, whatever that might be. And that's also okay. It was in a process of change. You may not have expected the change right now. Most people didn't, and that's okay. That's normal. But knowing this, having this opportunity gives you, gives me, gives we a very unique chance at not only quote unquote looking into the future, but understanding that everybody is going through this change simultaneously. The joy about that, the good thing about that, is that when everything is new, there is no quote unquote incumbent. There is no market leader. There isn't someone you're playing catch up to. Everybody is in first place right now. It's kind of like, when you playing Mario Kart or something, everybody's at the starting line, right? But the challenge is, though, if you're playing Mario Kart like with the 4-up and then you start looking at the wrong player and you think that's you, but actually you then realize you're the one over here that keeps bumping into the guardrails and corner. You're like, oh man. See, maintaining focus through this time is what's going to make sure that you do cross whatever that finish line, whatever that goalpost, whatever that mark might actually be. So understanding that, man, it doesn't mean that you aren't feeling negative emotions. It doesn't mean that you're not having it's not difficult to still do some of the same things that you used to do. What I do find interesting, and I hope you guys understand, one of the most ironic things about him being the one saying that, especially when he was addressing public speakers, is the fact that when he says, if you thought you were just gonna go on a stage and that's what you're waiting for, like you're hunkering down, you're playing not to lose, so I'll take no risk. I'll hunker down and just wait. I'll take my stack of cash and just wait. I'm just gonna sit here and wait. I'm gonna cut everything off and just wait. You heard him say it himself. I mean, that ship has sailed. How can you still do what you do, but do it differently? Because that, when you try to fight a war of attrition, all sides lose. I mean, a Pyrrhic victory is not a victory, right? It's just not. For those of you wondering what I was talking about, it's Phyrrric. Look it up. Pyrrhic victory. It's not a victory at all. And that's what a lot of humans, Americans and otherwise, wherever you guys are, might do. Try to hunker down and just quote unquote stay safe. That's not going to work. Because one, none of us knows how long this lasts. And because you don't know how long this lasts, you don't know how much it's going to cost. You cannot properly estimate the cost. There's no way to do it, right? There's no way to do it. And even if everything was quote unquote fixed today, news announcement, boom, today, everything is fixed. If everything is fixed immediately today, it's going to take years for certain things to even come close to being not only just normal, but something that people are willing to do, right? It's going to take years. Let me give you an example of what I mean. It's going to be a while before people are willing to congregate, but something as simple as going to the movies, right? Think about it. If you don't have any sort of protection, no vaccine against it, you don't have any sort of armor, going to the movies as we know it is likely to be different for a while, okay? For a long while, until certain things are in place. Chief among them, likely a vaccine, right? So does that mean if you own a movie theater or you were in the entertainment world, does that mean, oh man, I guess I can't act anymore? I guess I can't produce a film anymore? I guess I can't do... No, it doesn't mean those things. It means those things just get distributed differently. And the world economy is in a state of reorganization of the resources, of its distribution mechanisms, of its how we work. And this is true for every facet of everything. I mean, even the grocery stores have already begun to adapt. I mean, at least the ones that I've seen out here in California with you've got markers in the aisles that are 6 feet apart. I mean, and you're waiting outside. No one's really complaining about waiting outside right now. And you're like, cool, I just hope there's meat left when I get inside, or toilet paper. You get my point. And what it comes down to is that you and I are adapting. Humans always have adapted. That's how we've gotten this far, so to speak. We create tools and adapt. We adapt to the environment. That skill of adapting is called, it's a result of change, because change is constant. And I mean, when you think about many of the trends that are going on, do you realize, because think about this is something that just know that it'll never be the same now. Because of everything that has happened, think about the sheer quantity of senior citizens, individuals over 60, maybe even over 50, who for the first time in their life, right? Now, don't get me wrong, Instacart's been there for a while, but for the first time in their life, they started using it, and they have to keep using it. Let me ask you this question. Once that habit of using it and ordering your groceries online is built, and they've seen how it worked, because again, they were forced to use it. It wasn't an option. Before it was an option, I'll use it if I want to. Now they're forced. That forced habituation, when things go back, what's the likelihood that that's going to just completely disappear? There'll be some fall off, sure, but is it going to disappear? Is it going to have a catastrophic death? Not likely. Not likely. I've heard some stats that Instacart, for example, has seen literally a doubling of a doubling and of use in like the last 30 days. Like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I don't even understand what that means in terms of sheer volume of groceries now being delivered that way. But change is, it's here. It's not going to come, it's here. And it's been forced upon us, which is a double-edged sword, because there's a sense of loss of like, oh man, I remember when, I wish I could. I liked it because it was that way. And there's also the, hey, well, that means we could do it this way now, or maybe this is a more efficient way, or hey, I wonder what if, right? And this is true whether you have a company, whether it's just you incorporated or family incorporated, however you want to look at it. Change is here. I'm eager to see how the schooling system changes as a result to this, because they were also forced, right? And I've seen a number of reports where from university professors who had never taught online to elementary school, to all levels, like, wow, there are some benefits to being able to instruct this way. In fact, I heard one thing that I thought that was interesting, because I had never thought about it from her perspective. She was saying very simply that as a instructor, as a teacher, because she was forced to use Zoom, and she was using Zoom with the gallery view, I believe is what they call it. So what that simply means, for those of you who haven't done it, if you can imagine, just like you saw in the video, all of her students were in that gallery view, and she's right in front of the camera. But now, unlike in a classroom, her students are right in front of the camera, so she can see their face. She can feel and see their emotions in a completely different way than she's ever been able to do it, because they're all right there. They're all just as far apart from the teacher as ever. Everyone's equidistant. There's no one in the back of the classroom goofing off. You know you were. And there's no one who's trying to throw something at another student when the teacher has her back turned. You know you were too. So that is a different environment. It's a different learning environment. And everyone is being forced to figure it out, which will have a lasting long-term effect everywhere. So what does that mean? That means change is gonna come. And more importantly, the real question becomes, how will you adapt? Because that's also a choice, right? You can choose to not adapt, and we understand that not adapting doesn't exactly lend itself well to survival, right? But that is a choice. And if you are going to adapt, in what ways are you choosing to adapt? What habits do you think will serve you in the new world, so to speak? Well, I don't know what they're going to be for everybody. I don't even know what they're all going to be for me. But I do know this, that I suspect that the amount of live streaming, the amount of videos, the amount of education that happens online is going to drastically, it not only has it drastically increased, it's going to continue to increase and stay there for a while. That there will be an explosion, if you will, of that type of stuff. There'll be explosions. There'll be massive needs in industries like video editing. Like, straight up, there's going to be massive needs in the video editing world. I can see that 100% already. For those of you who like to make music, there's going to be even more needs there in terms of being able to have music that plays, and there are certain things that I can see that are like, ooh, that's clear. And for the industries that are reinventing themselves, they're going to create new needs or new ways of going to market. For example, as many of you know, that we do the whole short-term rental thing, and while we're not talking about that at this particular moment today, it's been a month of reinvention, right? And then not so much in that, do short-term rentals still work? That's the same as saying, do people need housing? Well, yeah. So that's not the trick. The trick is understanding. Remember what I said. It starts with why. Why do you do what you do? And we have always done what we've done to provide clean, safe, affordable housing to people that need it when it matters most. So the fun part is that the people that need it has just changed. It shifted. So instead of, say, marketing to the tourist, right? You change your marketing to attract the people that need it. And who are the people that need it now? Well, it's our first responders. It's our medical professionals. It's actually it's some family members who maybe were living with grandma, and instead of, like, because here's the worst situation is when you have an essential worker in the same household with someone who has high risk. It's like, you gotta choose. You can't come home if you're that essential worker, which means you need a place to self-quarantine, right? And so that creates a need for housing or some place to sleep and to rest, because humans can't function without it. And we can't manage stress well without it. And if we keep beating on our medical professionals and first responders this way without giving them a way to have adequate rest, that's going to compound the problem. So providing housing is still needed, right? It's just a matter of learning, how do I get in front of the hospital to let the hospital know, hey, we're over here? How do I get in front of the police department, the fire chief battalion? I think I said that right. I probably didn't. I'm sorry. How do you do that, right? That is the challenge of the hour, especially for those of us who do short-term rentals, right? And we're working on it, and it's happening. I mean, we're housing a number of medical professionals right now, which is great, and it's exciting. But also IT professionals who are working in that industry. Keeping the infrastructure of the world going is really important right now. And there's a number of companies that obviously play in that space, and that's what they're doing. So understanding all of these things, it doesn't remove the need for your business. You still solve a problem. Your business you must solve a problem. The challenge comes if we just sit around and wait. It'll come back. It'll be like it was before. Everybody just chill. Nothing to see here. That's the attitude that I don't think is survivable. Anyway, this then raises the question, okay, so what do we do? Like, hey, Jay, what do we do? Got it. Totally understand. Well, what you do, and on a previous day, we talked about the path of becoming. And inside of that path of becoming, what happens is we, one of the first steps is outside of, desire, then it's time, and then it's learning to use your time to gain new talents or skills. This is where that lies. Is you get to choose what new talents or skills do you intend to add to your capacity to offer to the marketplace, because that's really a very important question all of us should be asking. What new talents and or skills are you adding? I'm adding new skills. I'm also considering learning a new language as part of that. Haven't decided what language. That's part of the interesting. If for those of you who know more than one language, do me a favor. Like if you right now, because I know you know, there's a number of you. What language? Like do you like if you were someone, if you were talking to an entrepreneur who had a whole lot going on, okay, but was willing to make some time, right? What language would you suggest what language do you suggest I learn? Put that in the chat, because I'm curious to see what you guys say. But my point is this. As you gain new skills, you're preparing for the new version of the marketplace to come. We don't know what that looks like. Here's what we do know, is that there will always be a marketplace, there will always be an economy, we will always find a way to buy, sell, trade, etc. with one another. One of the best things you can do is to just invest some time and asking yourself the question, what will I be? Exactly like Simon said in the video, what will we be? What will I be? If this is true, if change is true, what will I be? Right? Period. You know, in fact, I also see some change there are certain positions that were not as highly compensated, but I see drastic change likely happening there. For example, you take someone who does public transportation, like your commuter trains, your bus drivers, maybe Uber and taxi drivers, right? Those will suddenly become, I think, higher paid positions than what they've been before, simply to be commiserate with the level of risk or perceived risk that they are undertaking. And understand, this is going to happen, it's going to seem slowly, but it's over time. And that time frame, that time window, no one knows, because we don't know. Because for example, just because a vaccine hits the market, you know what happens? You got to produce it. Then you've got to distribute it. Then you've got to get everybody in. I mean, there's so many things that are going to be different for a while. It doesn't mean we're going to be stuck in our houses this entire time, but there are just going to be certain things that can't be done or we humans won't feel safe doing until then, until certain things are in place. I mean, I'd say start preparing your kids that school is going to look vastly different. The first time I was telling my 12-year-old that the school was going to look different, she's like, "Why, Dad? I just want to go back and see my friends." I was like, "I totally get it. I want you to see your friends too. But understand, here's what happens when you go to school. It's a bunch of kids who are like playing or sitting really close, right next to each other, less than 6 feet, and it's like a germ factory. You guys were already a germ factory." Right? So it's going to be different until that gets resolved. I don't know what that's going to look like. So mentally, emotionally prepare yourself that this fall school season may look different for you. All right? You may have more classes online. That's not a bad thing. It's just going to be different for you. Okay, Dad, no problem. And the same is true for all of us. How do we prepare ourselves for change? What is it because you can let change just happen to you. But I say, why not take the bull by the horns, as they say, and figure it out. Figure out, what do I want to be? So I am literally asking you to think about, what do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know. What do you want to be when you grow up? Now, see, if you were here yesterday, we went through an exercise where you likely have a list of those things already. See, there was a method to the madness. So you already actually have that. I just now ask that same question in a completely different way. So now that you have your list, assuming that you have your list, or in fact, I saw some of you who said first, meaning this is your first day here. Awesome. Thank you for being here. Let me give you a quick recap, and then I'm going to show you how to build your own roadmap to those things, if that makes sense, right? So yesterday, one of the things that we discussed was very specifically how you were going to, or what it takes to, how to begin to define your business plan is what we were putting in under the context of. And we're going to continue that definitely tomorrow. We're going to continue that. And this is kind of a part of it, but very specifically, there were 3 questions. And you were supposed to take 10 minutes to answer each of those 3 questions, okay? And what does that mean? What were those 3 questions? Let me see if I can pull that up for you. Now I'm gonna show you again. Oh, come here. It is, there we go. Excel. Boom. Come on. You can do this. This is me impatiently waiting for, oh, well, that's the wrong Excel sheet. Hold on. Crazy. All right, there we go. There it is. And got it. So, excellent. So what we were talking about is as follows. This is the question. Okay. Now what I'm doing is that I'm actually showing you this, or what you're looking at is actually the one that I wrote out back. I've done this exercise a number of years, and this is the one that I did back in 2009. Anyway, but what it comes down to is you're going to ask yourself the same question or versions of this question 3 different ways. Give yourself 10 minutes each to answer everything you would do everything you would be in 2020 if you knew you could not fail. Yes, given everything you see, everything you know, all the negative you've heard, now you're going to ignore that and focus. What would you be? Who would you be? What would you want to be known for in 2020 if you knew you could not fail? Then you're going to do the same thing, everything you would do in 2020 if you knew you could not fail. And then same thing in everything you would have in 2020 if you knew you could not fail. It is very important to limit it to only 2020. Otherwise, it can get a little wild and crazy because our brains can go all kinds of places, which is exciting. And depending on where you are, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, it may be a little difficult to have hope, and I understand that, and I don't want to make light of that. I get you, because it's like I don't feel I can do anything. I feel hopeless. I don't feel like I can make anything happen, and I acknowledge you for being here as still, because I would like to tell you, by the way, that if you are here and you're feeling that, the fact that you're here says that you do have hope. You have the desire to keep hoping because that's why you're here. You showed up looking for a little bit more. You know, we'll do our best, obviously, to deliver. Can't necessarily promise. But these exercises are designed to help you protect what is the most important thing that all of us can protect right now, which is our mindset. So long as we stay focused on working in that capacity and protecting our mindset, I think we have a really good shot at putting ourselves in a position that will give us the success that I think we're looking for. All right. Now, the goal is to take that exercise, to do that the number of times so you've got to do that exercise, right? It's not like something you can just think up and store the information in your head. Please get something to write on, actually do the exercise. Assuming you've done that exercise, like we talked about yesterday, then what you have is you have a list of things that you would be, do, and have in 2020 if you knew you could not fail. Meaning you wouldn't, by not fail means There would be no politician. There would be no government agency. There would be no, there would be nothing. There would be no obstacle that you would allow to stop you. Nothing. The election results wouldn't get in the way. Nothing would stop you. You would continue to make progress, right? So that doesn't mean you won't have to make adjustments. It doesn't mean those things won't have an impact. It means they won't be the reason you fail, if that makes sense, okay? Nothing will get in the way. So what you now have is you have a list, right? And this is the fun part. When I've had the privilege of, which is ironic to say, especially in this case, when I've had the privilege of being on stage and training and working with entrepreneurs, this is one of my favorite and fun exercises to actually do and teach and train, because it's fun being able to show you, someone, all of us, how to take what you currently think of as a goal, as something to achieve, something that's not quite yet here in your reality, how to bring it closer, how to make it happen for you, and to show you that you have the skill and to be able to build your roadmap, which is what we're going to do right now. So what I want to do is I want to show you how to take any of the things you've written down, anything that you said that you wanted to be, do, or have, and how you can begin to break it down into something that you can do, right? Which means we're not focused on the resources or things you do not have or feel you do not have. We're not focused on that. What can I do, right? We're going to break that down. That doesn't mean you don't need those resources. It means that's not what we're going to focus on. And it also doesn't mean just because we don't have them that we're not going to do anything. We're just going to, well, until I know the exact way of all of this, that's irrelevant. What can you do today? Because there's something you can do today. There's always something you can do today, regardless of the amount of resources you feel you have or do not have. All right. So hear me clearly when I say that. All right. So let's do this. So I'm going to scroll through actually the list that I have here, and let me see what we've got. Yes, you can tell this was 2009. Oh, I forgot one thing. Sorry. With your list of things, right? One of the things that you want to do, there's actually two. There's two things that you want to do. Once you've got that list together, you're going to want to do, or you're going to want to put on that list how do I say this? You're going to want to, yes, you want to take that list, your list, and order it. But here's how you order it. So if you're looking at the everything you would be column, or everything you would do, everything you would have, right? There's two types of ordering you want to do. You want to take that list and order it in things that you consider to be smallest to largest. Smallest to largest. Like the thing that could create the quickest win of being, that's one. That would be at the top. And the thing that you think it would take you the longest to become, that's at the bottom, right? So say, for example, one of the things you said was, I wanted, like, here's something. That say you want it to be generous. That could be one of the things that you could go, okay, cool. I want to be that. But, and maybe you consider that to be easy. That's great that you're going to put that at the top. But then the next one is you also want it to be disciplined. Well, you're like, oh, that's harder, so I'm going to put that here, right? My point is simple. Order them from what you consider to be smallest to largest in each of the categories: be, do, and, or have. When you get over to the have, and some of the do, because it's experience related, it makes it's a little easier. Whoops, sorry about that. It's a little easier because you can all sometimes assign a dollar value to those, simply because it's like, it's easy to figure out, like, hey, if I wanted to do, what would I do? Become an airline pilot, which sounds kind of ironic right now, I know, but maybe that's what you want to do. Awesome. And it's easy to look up and figure out what that might actually cost in terms of time, money, effort, those types of things. So that could be easy. Same thing with the have column when you start thinking about that. All right. After you've done that, the other thing that you want to do is you want to begin to assign. So the other form of ordering this is assign a due date, meaning the date by which you believe, based upon everything you know right now, you can actually accomplish these things. Now, that doesn't mean you will, doesn't mean you won't, but put a date, right? So you're going to give it a date. And I know it's like a best guess. You're like, Jay, I want to get it right. And you're not going to get it right. And it's okay. That is the prior way of thinking, where you had to get it right the first time with no help by yourself. Just put down a date. Okay? There's no wrong date. I'll say it differently. Something that I was taught a long time ago is that there was no such thing as an unrealistic goal. Just unrealistic time frames. I'll say that again. Someone write this in the chat. There's no such thing as an unrealistic goal, just unrealistic time frames. Okay? So, in fact, maybe you want to, sorry, I'm chuckling because there's a thought going through my head, which I find funny, but it's going to irritate some people when I say it, and I know it, but that's okay. I don't care. Because I was thinking about, some people said, hey, I think it would be a beautiful time to open up the country right around Easter, which is April 12th, in a few days. And yeah, see, that's not an unrealistic goal. The time frame, however, is drastically unrealistic, right? So you just keep moving the date, right? That you keep moving the date. My point is simple. Write it down. You're going to order it smallest to largest, and you're going to write it down. Date. That's it. Your date's fine. And if you have to move it, it's okay. It doesn't mean you failed. Doesn't mean you didn't do it. There's no reason to be disappointed. It's maybe it just takes you more skill than you thought you needed to get it done. No big deal. All right. All right. So let me go back now. And now what I'm going to do is we're going to take one of these, just one. Okay. We're going to take one of these, and what we're going to do is we're going to focus on one of them. I remember that. Sorry, I'm laughing at some of the ones that I wrote down here. Because when you look at this, when you come back and look at this later, years later, you're going to see that the things you thought you cared about, you just don't anymore. So speaking of which, we'll take this one. This is the one we'll do. We'll take the one that I know I don't care about anymore. Is right here, right there. That puppy right there. Renting a Lamborghini for a week. I literally wanted to do that. That's something I wanted to do. And let me tell you, sorry, I'm chuckling at myself. Okay. Some of the things that I wanted to do was, I thought it would be funny. I still think it would be ironic. I still wanted to go rent a Lamborghini, go to the drive-through menu of like McDonald's, and then order off the 99-cent menu. I don't know why I find that humorous, but I do. Okay, you don't have to find it humorous. That's fine. I got it. And just understand that whatever the crazy that comes out of your head is completely okay. It doesn't really matter. It can be as weird as you want it to be, right? My point, though, is to simply take any one of those things. And now we're going to build your roadmap, right? So in order to build the roadmap, or your roadmap, here's, what's that? No, wrong camera. That one. There we go. In order to build your roadmap, there we go. We're going to build build your roadmap. Here's how you get there, because that's the thing, right? It's one thing to say to yourself, oh, I'm going to go do this, right? It's another to know exactly what to do today to go do it, right? These are two completely different things. So for fun, we're going to pretend I'm going to leave it here with the rent the Lamborghini, okay? So for those of you making fun of me and my Lamborghini ideas in the chat, that's fine. I don't care. And then I'm going to share with you a resource that I have used, because here's the other challenge I have also seen when trying to help individuals with this is sometimes it's hard to think of anything. Like, I don't know what I would be, do, or have, and you need a point of inspiration. So I'm going to share with you a resource that I've used to help kickstart your capacity to hope, because that's one of the challenges with exercises like this. And that's under normal circumstances, that's challenging for some people because you've been disconnected from hoping for so long. You're like, why bother? Like, I never get what I want anyway. And I understand that. And I'm going to share with you a resource on how to kickstart that so you don't have to. All right. So when we're building the roadmap, for the sake of this exercise, we're going to put the goal here. And then that is rent Lamborghini. Actually, I'm curious, is there any one of you in the chat who I kind of like the rent the Lamborghini and go through the McDonald's drive-through 99-cent menu? I'm not saying you're going to eat the stuff. I'm just saying I think it would be funny. All right, if that's you too, if you were one of those people, do me a favor, put that little raising your hand emoji in the chat, because I'm curious if I have any other people like that who are like, hey, it's quirky, but all right. I spelled it wrong. See, this was, I remember why this was on my list. Growing up in Germany, anyway, I fell in love with the Italian sports car. I kind of liked it. I liked the way they looked, all that stuff. And then one day, I went to, because I'm living out here in Orange County, California, I went to a Lamborghini dealership and was like, okay, cool, let's see a test drive. Let's see how this goes. It did not go well because your boy did not fit at all. I couldn't get in the darn car behind the wheel at all. Dream was crushed. I was upset. Anyway, I digress. Rent Lamborghini for a week. So, in order to do this, the next question you ask yourself, so when it comes down to it, okay, so you've got your goal, you want to do, the next question you ask is, what are the resources required? What resources do you need in order to make that happen? Because that understanding, hold on one second. Somebody's something. Thank you. So what resources are required? Well, in some form, almost every goal is going to need one of two or some of both things. It's going to need some form of money and, sorry, that was time. It's going to need both of those though. It's going to need some form of money in most cases and time, definitely, right? It's going to need some form of this. And let me also address the most altruistic among us. Even if all you want to do, like if the goal you wrote down is all I want to do is save the whales and the environment and free Willy, etc., it still is going to take some money because freeing Willy ain't free. Okay, it just isn't. And so there will need to be some form of that in your plan. Now, once you've got an idea of the resources that are required, etc., because this is something you can look up. I can now look up what does it cost to rent a Lamborghini for a week. So let's do that, right? How much to rent a Lamborghini in Los Angeles? I have no idea what numbers we're going to find, but let me see. Oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I will start with the sharing economy because it's alive and well. And I can find, there we go. So I clearly, if I wanted to, I have choices now. It's way easier than it used to be. If I wanted to, I could rent a Lamborghini. If you got 2016, 17, 15s to choose from, that green is kind of like all in your face, kind of like that says ticket me right now. That's what that says. But let's take, what's the least expensive one? I see $510 a day. Oh, I even like these two down here because these two down here are book instantly. I like that a lot. But anyway, those are book instantly. That's kind of neat. Here's my point. Where's the least expensive one? Where'd it go? $510 a day. Right there. Boom. So I'm not saying go rent the Lamborghini. But my point is, if you wanted to and you wanted to rent it for a week, let's go with $510 a day. That's what I'm saying at this particular moment in time. Now, we now know that. It's going to be $510 a day. And let's just say that our actual, I know that there's insurance and all the other stuff that you would have to add. It's just more numbers. So can we just safely round it up and call it $800 a day and not worry about all of the detail? All right. Just for the sake of this exercise, let's just round it up and call it $800 a day. So now it's $800 a day. And I said a week is 7 days. So it's 800 times 7, right? Okay. See? Your kids should be watching this. They could be doing some math right now. Anyway, so it's going to be fit. And now, again, I'm not saying that any of you, this is what you're going to do. I'm just trying to show you. See the process. Because when it comes down to it, when you're watching the process, this process is how you build the roadmap to whatever the goal is. So figure out the resources. So now the question is, okay, it's $5,600. The next question you have to ask yourself is, well, how long, how much time does it take you to create, hear the words, how long does it take you to create $5,600 of, in this case, it's very discretionary income, right? So what I mean by this is, what is another way, a very simple way of looking at this is like, okay, money left over at the end of the month, which I know it's like, oh, wait a minute. That might be a sore subject today. Fine, but for the sake of this conversation, let's pretend that for you right now, or that you can put yourself in a position to where you have, we're going to say $1,000 per month. You've done all the responsible things that you're supposed to do, and you still have this $1,000 a month. So then it's really easy to see that it is going to take you at least 6 months to put the money aside and make that happen. Okay? Simple is what you're going to need. So now you can look at this and go, all right, so it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,600 and 6 months, right? So now you can begin to check and see, you're developing this plan, what the date was you said you were going to do this by. And if you did this, awesome. You can now go, all right, cool. Maybe I need to adjust my date, maybe not. But you can begin to then do the very next thing, which is my favorite part of this exercise. Now let's pretend that today, this is how we draw it. Today is the day you're actually going to, you're going to go to Turo, you're going to go to your dealership, wherever, and you're actually about to rent the darn thing today. Today is the day, 6 months have expired, you have done this, and you are ready. Here's the question you ask yourself to figure out what your roadmap is. If today is the day, you are literally getting in the car right now. Ask yourself this question. What happened, yes, just before that. That's the question you're going to ask yourself. So let me give you an example. If I'm in the process of getting in the car, because today's the day, what happened just before that? What happened just before I got in the car was, for the sake of this conversation, I received the keys. Whatever the keys look like, okay? I received the keys. All right, cool. Now that I've received the keys, what happened just before that? Well, if I was getting it off of Turo, I probably arrived at the, if I got off Turo, I probably arrived at the location to pick up the vehicle. I arrived at the location. Okay, got it. Let me get myself out of the way there. All right. So the next question becomes, all right, if I just arrived at the location, what happened just before that? Well, just before I arrived at the location, I probably, I got the confirmation, right? Because I got the confirmation and I completed it. You know, the actual reserving of the vehicle. Okay, well, cool. Just before you got the confirmation, what happened just before that? Well, before I got the confirmation, I actually signed. Maybe you had to sign up for Turo and sign up for Turo, and which will include driver's license, payment methods, blah blah blah, all that stuff. Okay, well, before you signed up for Turo, what happened just before that? Well, just before that, remember, I needed $5,600. Well, just before that is I made the final, what was that? What were we doing? $1,000 deposit, right? Into the account that I was going to use to pay for it. Okay. Now, so what happened just before that? Now, see, this is where it gets into how do you earn your income and or create value in the marketplace? Meaning, did you close a sale? Did you receive a paycheck? Was it a side hustle? Okay, let's pretend it was a side hustle for whatever reason, and you were on Etsy selling some socks. Awesome, great. So I closed. So just before you made your $1,000 deposit, likely what I think you see where this is going, right? And you keep asking yourself, what you keep doing is you keep asking yourself, what happened just before that? And you keep asking it until you're at something you can do today. But you take it step by step by step, because sometimes when I set a goal or when I want to achieve something, it can be big. It can be huge. In fact, many of us probably did something similar to this at the beginning of this year. Because at the beginning, January came around, New Year's, gonna be great. Everything's gonna be awesome. And then, we have subsequently been slapped in the face repeatedly. Like, oh my God, this too, and this, and I mean, I'm with you. I've been slapped in the face just as much as you have this year, okay? And now we have to reset. We are given the opportunity to reset. So Happy New Year. How about that? There you go. Happy New Year. And you keep asking yourself, what happened just before that? It's one of my most favorite exercises, because what I like to do, like whenever we ever get a chance to be in a room and stages again, who knows, maybe we'll do it, because I will take, like, I don't know if you guys know, but those flip charts, and you can take someone's goal, write it at the top, and they start, all the participants run to the wall, they get their thing, and they're all putting their goals, like the goal at the top, and they're just writing what happened just before that. And you can see this path all the way back to boom. That means today I need to I need to go talk to 15 people, or that today I need to submit 12 more resumes. Today I need to do something. I have something that I can do today. And because you wrote it out, it's your roadmap. And at the end, it's like playing, what's that one? Candyland? You've designed the game, right? This is what I've been talking about for a while, is designing the game. You living by design, we living by design, not by default. Because change is coming, it's here, right? So since that's the case, since those are part of the new rules, right? These are the new rules. How will you show up in the new marketplace? It's a total choice. It's a choice we all get to make. And the best part, the part that should make it easy for all of us, in my opinion, is that you're not making the choice in a silo. Everyone's being forced to make the choice simultaneously. So you won't be in a situation in a sense where you're like watching someone else who's got some sort of massive head start. So the amount of jealousy, envy, comparing stuff, we're all still at the starting line together, which is great. Now, some people will pick this up and begin to separate themselves and run faster. Some will run slower, but we're all running in a direction. Towards what? That's up to you. And how you're going to get there? Also up to you. There are efficient ways to travel to your destination, and then there are also inefficient ways to travel to your destination. Meaning when you have a destination, say for example, that includes time, that it takes time, specifically time relative to how you create value in the marketplace. When your income is connected to the clock, you're limited by time. If you can create income that's disconnected from a clock, then you can get ahead faster. That doesn't mean there isn't more skill. There's more skill required. There's definitely more skill required, and that's fine and also fair, because that's just how it works. So let me answer a couple of your questions, and then we'll be done for today. Hopefully you found this helpful. For those of you who joined us late or joined right now, wondering like, what on earth is this dude talking about? Or you found some value, do me a favor, go ahead and go to, if you are on Facebook, you want to get over to facebook.com/Cashflow Diary Live, because we will be, currently we are streaming, and I believe in 7 different locations. We're knocking that down to 2. There'll be 1 location on Facebook and then 1 location on YouTube. YouTube, for those of you who are on YouTube, you're already in the right spot. Awesome, thank you. Do us a favor, because the algorithm doesn't like us yet. Hit like and subscribe, and I think you also have to do the notification bell, like get all notifications, so that you, when we go live, you'll see it. So we'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. And that way, and more people on YouTube will be able to find us, because that would help tremendously. All right. Where was I going? Oh, questions. Let me see what questions are over here in the chat, because that's one of the, for those of you wondering, like, why is he doing all that? Why can't I just come here where I see you now? Because when it comes time for questions and stuff, Facebook plays funny games, and you probably have noticed that the internet's been being used a lot more. So it's easier for us to keep track of your questions, because we want you guys to be able to participate, etc., in all the stuff. All right. Let me see, what is this? Stefan, I think I'm saying it, Stefan, I think I'm saying it right. Do you have recordings of your previous live posts? Yes. We do have the recordings, and I believe my team, we were talking about this, putting it together and figuring out how to create a way or an easy way for you guys to have access to it, especially if you are just now finding us today and you're like, what do you mean this is like day 5? How is that possible? What about the other days, bro? Yeah, no problem. Totally understood. And if this is your first time here, we intend on going live for at least 30 days. That was the goal. That was the goal for me. It was like, okay, can I do that? Can I continually show up? Whew. I'm having fun so far, so that's good. And so the rest of this month, that's for sure. As the month goes, we'll see, what might be needed, right? We'll see. Let me see. What is this, Anne? I love Cashflow Diary. I better hurry up and finish cleaning the front entryway. And I hope you did get that front entryway cleaned. That's great. Melanie over there on YouTube says, morning, good morning. CL, I think it's CL Base, your first. So for those of you, if this is your first time here, one of the things that we like is for you to let us know so I can say hi. Hi, CL, how you doing? Marcel, how are you? Because it looks like you're first as well. Cynthia, what is this? It says, thank you. Is that G? How do you say that? Gian? I guess is the second J silent? Or is the first J silent? That's interesting. Anyway, thank you for sharing this video. Also, I really appreciate the time you are taking to share your knowledge and experience. You are quite welcome. I don't know if I put that up there. There it goes. You're definitely welcome, Cynthia. No more delay. Oh, love the t-shirts. Yes, thank you, and stay tuned. Stay tuned. Corinne says, oh, nope, I hit the, no, is that not Corinne? There it goes. It says, what does it say? Great message. The small town grocery store is being more innovative than the chain store in your town. #agile. Yes, that is actually one of the advantages of a smaller business, right? Is we do have the flexibility to be more agile. I've been telling some of the landlords that we work with that our advantage in helping keep your property full right now is the fact that as a short-term rental provider, instead of having to be stuck with a year-long contract with someone who possibly just lost their job, we can just switch and go, okay, well, let's go find the doctors, the nurses, the firemen, the policemen, the grandpas, grandmas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we can just make that switch. And because we can. So that's definitely one of those things. It's what's that? Finally, I'm here the earliest. Congratulations, Melody. You said interesting. Hopefully we still are. So okay, got it. We got Spanish, Chinese, and Arabic. Oh my gosh. Do you mean in that order? That would. Ooh man. Ooh buddy. Okay, so Catrice also says Spanish. So we're getting lots of votes for Spanish. Now, Catrice, I don't even know if my oldest daughter is learning sign language. So I don't know if she's watching it, but yes, I hear you there. Wouldn't that be interesting? Learning sign language now. That actually does kind of sound useful, you know? Japanese. Whoa. Okay, it's harder to work. I mean, the characters. Okay, got it. Michelle, welcome. Thanks for being here. Jay, I have hope. My god sister has heard me talk about short-term rentals and is interested with her property. Shows short-term rentals are a need. Yeah, housing is always a need. How it's packaged is up to us, right? And understand we're packaging time in various different ways. So this is good. For those of you who want to gain some more insight and or knowledge into the short-term rental space. Sorry, my computer looked like it was doing something weird. Anyway, for those of you, I've got to find a way to get that monitor higher so I can know exactly what's going on. Anyway, for those of you who want to find out more information about what's going on in the short-term rental space, we've been doing a series this past week or so. You want to go over to cashflowdiary.com/learn live. All right, register. There will be another presentation today at 4. Well, actually, I think at 2 Pacific time. All times are Pacific, not specific. Anyway, your life, your terms. Chris, I'm not quite sure, Cynthia, what you're asking for. There's no such thing. Yes, there's no such thing as an unrealistic goal, just unrealistic time frames. Exactly, Catrice. Perfect. I love it, guys. You guys are awesome. You're getting it. Can we see the final doc for the screenshot? I'm not sure which document you're referring to today, Deetra. We're still at the starting line. Yes, 100%. Thanks, Jay. Informative as always. Be safe, everyone. Yep, I agree. What is this? Karen, we are new at short-term rentals, and we have someone that booked for 3 months. We are so stoked. Yes, and Karen, here is what I say to you. Go get another one. Now. Right now. Because there's still a need. Understand, we have the privilege of being an essential business, and it has a need. It's not essential because some politician says it's essential, declared it essential. It's essential because it's essential, right? It's not, so go get another one, because here's the thing that will happen, right? Is it'll take time. I don't know how long. There will be a new version of tourism. There'll be a new version of business travel. And as it returns, I think cultural norms will work in the short-term rental owner's favor. Here's what I mean by that. Because it is becoming normal to not congregate with strangers in a tight or enclosed space. Therefore, business travelers who choose to travel for work may not want to stay at a hotel for no other reason than too many people. That's it. Too many people. Think about that. Think about what I'm saying. Business travel is ginormous. And as it returns, it'll be different too. And if you have one unit, that's good. That boat will lift. However, if you have 2, both boats lift. 3, 4, 5, 10. Do you see where I'm coming from? So this rising tide will lift all the boats. All the boats. So now is a great time to be into the short-term rental world, and more importantly, real estate world, and definitely making sure that you have the capacity to continue to find a way to expand and make it happen. Because on the other end, should be pretty good. Should be pretty good. Where to go? Especially since, I loved your roadmap. Thank you. You're no problem, Bill. Anytime. I know a little bit of Spanish and Japanese. Oh, that's my daughter. Awesome. Good job. Yay. I'm glad you know Spanish. And there she is. It's this camera this time. The final roadmap. Got it. So this is what I was. So this is what I had drawn out, Dietrich. I actually didn't stop. I stopped right at the part, because see, once you get down to the money part, it comes down to you making sure that you've got your how you earn your. Oh, that's still up there. Sorry. So it how you earn your income. Because now you've got to break that down. Like if you do Etsy sales in order to earn your income, and that's how you're going to make your final deposit, then you've got to decide, make some decisions around which product or products are you going to make and what the net profit of those are, to figure out how many pairs of socks do I need to sell on Etsy to equal that. And then you can begin to break that down even further to figure out, well, how many socks do I need to sell today? Yep, and how many, in order to sell that many socks today, I got to do this, that, and the other. So it just depends on how you earn your income at that point. But you're always asking, what came just before that? And so long as you keep it that simple, man, achieving these goals is relatively easy for you. It's relatively easy. All right. The final, Bethany, what in the world? How are you? Where are you in the world? It is amazing. Bethany is someone that I have known since the the time I will say, I can't really say I went to college. I will say I was at college. Some of you know exactly what I mean when I say that. So I wasn't exactly participating fully, if you understand my meaning, but I was there. So I will say that. Let me see. In the last document, to build your roadmap, got it. 10 minutes per 2020. Yep, awesome. Thanks, Deecha. All right, perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I have said before, say again, you are participating in what is currently an experiment, because it can be challenging to disappoint people. I have disappointed people before in the past, and I'm doing my best not to disappoint you. What does that mean? I said I would go live every day for 30 days in April. Today is day 5 and we're doing fine so far, and I'm excited about it. We will continue tomorrow. We're going to complete the business plan, specifically the business planning. We'll talk more about the ratios, right? So that you'll be able to figure out, okay, if I want to earn $1,000, that ratio stuff that I was just talking about, we're going to break that down so that you can figure out, hey, maybe I need to do this many emails today, this many phone calls, this many resumes, whatever it is, however it is that you earn your income. And we're going to figure out what that needs to look like for you, for me, for all of us together. If for some reason you did not know, by all means, if you're on Facebook, get over to facebook.com/Cashflow Diary Live. Facebook.com/Cashflow Diary Live. And for those of you on YouTube, just hit subscribe because you're in the right spot already. I'm having fun. Hopefully you are having fun. Feel free to tag a friend, share with a friend, because this is kind of for everybody. That's what we do. If you want to find out more about specifically short-term rentals and how we do that and how all of that works, by all means, please go to cashflowdiary.com/learn live. We are in the middle of our sequence where we are sharing that information, helping people get started, building momentum so that they can get in this game. Because it's, truth be told, I can't house them all. Therefore, there's opportunity. There's room for each and every one of you. Ladies and gentlemen, I absolutely enjoy taking the time to talk to you, to share with you. Hopefully you appreciate the time and you keep showing up, keep taking notes, keep asking the questions. It's been fun talking to you guys today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.